I'll tell you a little bit about my dad, though, just so you know. My dad is incredibly proud of all of his children. He is incredibly proud of all of his children. No one will ever. What? I have 3 older sisters.
I was so hoping you'd just say
No. But my dad is incredibly proud of all of his children, incredibly proud of all of his grandchildren. He will take every opportunity that he can to brag about them in every way, shape, and form. That's what he does. That's just always what he's done. You know, my dad. Now, mind you, I was born in 1983. My dad, when I was born, he was a bit older. My dad was 44 when I was born. Like some of your parents might not be 44 yet.
No.
You know what I'm saying?
They are.
Oh, they are? Okay. I'm just saying, my dad was 44 when I was born. So I was born in 1983. My dad was born in 1939. Like, I want you to think about this. I was born in the 80s. My dad was born when World War II was still happening. Okay? I'm just saying. The funny thing is, like, my dad, he has this habit of, in public, going up to, teenagers and basically, in so many words, hey, where do you go to high school? You know, like kind of like that in that kind of accent or something like that. Creepy.
A little bit.
Dad.
They didn't know what it was for.
Yeah. Dad, you can't start conversations with teenage girls by asking where they go to high school. Did you literally not hear the conversation from before? That's what he did to her. I know. But the optics is like, Dad, you're literally just asking teenagers where they go to high school. But the reason why he does it is just because he wants to find out if they know me. You know, that's the only reason he does it. So like one time he was getting his haircut at what's that place in Manahawkin? Supercuts? Yeah. He's getting supercuts. No, this is a different kind of story, right? So there's this older lady giving him his haircut, and the older lady is just like, because you have to register with your name, and she's just like, your name is James Markey? And he's like, yeah. And she's just like, I know your grandson. And he's just like, oh yeah? And it's a crazy thing where then the lady doubles as she's a hairdresser, but also she's a bus driver. And she's my kid's bus driver. So when he came on the bus the next time, I met your granddad. Like, so it happens to me once a month, all the time. My dad knows everybody in town. Like, everybody knows my dad. It's insane. He's like the mayor, the unofficial mayor of Barnegat or something like that. Or Dunkin' Donuts. One of the two. I know. He just is. Yeah, well. Yeah, it's crazy because, like, you know, because he's senior, I'm junior, my kid's the third. Back to this. Okay. Goal for today. Hold on. Goal for today. I want to introduce to you the last part of the project to show you the different calculations that are needed for it. And before I leave this building today, I will be assigning you the project on Google Classroom. Now, this project, I am going to give you approximately a week and a half to get done. This project, I believe I have it scheduled to be due either on the 22nd or the 23rd. I got to double check on that. But it's either going to be Monday the 22nd or Tuesday the 23rd. Furthermore, this doesn't affect you, but then the following day might. On Wednesday, which is an A day, I am scheduled to get my second vaccination for the virus. But people have told me that, oh, after you get the second shot for the virus, just make sure you take a second day off. That's what I've heard from most people. Most people, it just feels like a punch in the gut. Yeah. So.
That's why I would take it. Because, like, I don't get the flu shot. Like, I don't get vaccinations because I get vaccinated.
She did not say that.
I'm not anti-vax.
She did not say that.
I don't know. I go to get the flu shot and then I get the flu.
Anyway. My point being is this. On. My point being is this. I didn't pay for it. Yeah, I get it for free. Heck yeah. Yeah. So, hold on, but listen. The reason why I bring that up, if I am not here on Thursday, you still will have something to do, whether it be an in-class assignment that I have you submit via Google Classroom or continued working on your project, which would be due the following Monday or Tuesday. Keep in mind for the project one very important thing. When it comes to the car and the house, you are to contact me, email, in order to claim the car and house that you want to do for your project. No one will be doing the same house and project or same house and car as someone else. I'm going to be keeping track of that via a Google Sheet, which I will update as people send me their request for cars and houses. Now, as I've talked about evidence, I'll talk more about the evidence today and what you need. But I do caution you, do not wait for the last minute. If you email me on, let's just say it's due like Monday. Let's just say it's due Monday. And you email me Sunday night saying, hey, can I do this car? I may not be answering you at 11 p.m. Just saying. No. Don't have a price range for the car. There's a couple of requirements. For the bank, the requirement is $10,000. For the car, the requirement is you have to have a car that is at least 3 years old. Okay? And just as long as it's not matching anyone else's car.
Can we like go over all the like requirements there so we can like write them down?
They're going to be on the thing.
Oh.
I'm sorry, they're going to be on the PDF that I provide with the assignment, which I am going to show you visually today. Yes. But again, it will be posted with the Google Classroom assignment, so you'll have your own PDF. Yes, staring up at that ceiling?
Oh yeah.
It's not necessarily an equation, it's a location. It's a location for the maintenance crew to know where certain things are.
What says certain things? What's hiding them?
Wasps. Anyway, back to this. So I'll tell you a story about buying a house before we get into this house situation. My wife and I, we were living in Atlantic Heights in 2013 when we found out that we were expecting our first kid. And we had decided that when we were expecting our first kid that we would begin house hunting. So we went out and we went house hunting and we found the house that we eventually were going to buy. By the way, for people in the chat, if I haven't already said it, please leave your comments in the chat. That'd be fantastic. I'll check those in a little bit. So we found this house that we wanted to buy. But unfortunately, it was called a short sale. I don't know if you guys are familiar with what a short sale is. But a short sale is just basically, it's a house that is owned by the bank and someone else who wasn't able to afford the payments on it. The bank has basically taken part ownership of the house because... No, not exactly. What comes down to it is the person wants to sell the house, but the bank also has to approve the sale as well. It's a weird situation. Short sales are typically a lot cheaper than regular sales because the bank just really wants to unload the house. You can do that with cars? Oh, I don't know. Now, in terms of this house, we went through the process of purchasing it. We said, okay, we're putting contract in, filling out the paperwork, meeting with the lawyers, meeting with everybody that we need to meet with, getting all the proper information. And we were going to move into this house March of 2014. I want you to think about that, March of 2014. My son eventually would be born near the end of April 2014. We were going to move in a month before he was born. No, that would have been great because it's like we get the whole house set up, everything's good to go. But then we find out at the 11th hour that there is a lien against the house. Lien spelled L-E-I-N. A lien is a legal term, meaning that the person who owned the house or partly owned the house had some kind of legal issue that he was not able to afford financially. You guys play footsies later. Okay, those footsies. So, All right, back to this. So the guy basically, I don't know the guy because I never met the guy. I was dealing with the bank mainly with the short sale. But the guy apparently had like unpaid child support. And I know. And legally he owed the money. But there was this weird legal loophole where the liens were actually on the house as well. Because he wasn't able to afford it, they had to pay for it somehow. That's, again, why the bank took it over. But the problem was, legally, we could not purchase the house until the liens were removed from the house. Not from the guy, but from the house. So I was just like, okay, well, what do we do? Like, well, the lawyer is working on getting the liens removed from the house, but you're just going to have to wait. How long are we going to have to wait? We don't know. It depends on how long the legal process takes. So for about a month, my wife and I were living out of boxes because we had most of the apartment packed up, ready to move. And we're just waiting to get that call. We finally get the call on April 15th. Hey, we're going to close. Finally, we closed the next day on April 16th. Then on April 18th and 19th, myself and my mom and one of my sisters go in and we clean that house top to bottom. Top to bottom, clean that thing because finally we have access to it. Because we've signed the contract, we've closed on the house, it is our house. That was April 18th and 19th. April 20th, my wife goes into labor. Yes. My son is born the following morning on April 21st. So, he was born on Monday, April 21st. We finally make it back to the apartment that we were living in on Wednesday, the 23rd. I can't really remember if it was the 23rd or the 24th. We spent like 2 nights in the apartment. And then on that Saturday, an army of friends came over and finished packing up the apartment and moved everything over to the house. This was the most insane week of my life from the 15th to the 26th when we finally moved in. Yeah, can you believe it?
You know what I used to think about when I was little? I'm like bus drivers, they like pick us up and then take us home. What do they do during the day?
Oh, they hang out in parking lots?
Do they like go home or do they like have jobs? Like, what do they do?
Well, I just mentioned before that my son's bus driver also doubles as a hairdresser. Were you not listening? Goodness gracious. So, what I'm going to do right now is I am going to walk you through the process of picking a house for your project. I want to walk you through the process of picking a house for your project. Now, as I said the other day, I would strongly suggest that whatever information that you might find important or valuable towards this part of the project, I suggest that you write down, especially when we eventually get to the calculations part. Whatever I end up writing down, I'm going to suggest, hey, maybe that might be important for your project. And I'm kind of like, slow playing this because I'm trying to very emphasize the strong suggestion. Yes, I know. So here's what you're going to do. When you begin researching houses, you have to find a house that is listed that has a price that is more than the oldest price that you can find. Now, that statement is weird because of the following. I'll give you an example. My sister owns a house in Pennsylvania that was built in 1860, but they don't know the original price of that house. Nobody knows the original price of that house. The records were lost. In fact, the oldest available price that you can find online for her house is like from 1960 something. So, unfortunately, if her house is being used, then you would start your initial value from the 1960 price and then count the current value from 2021. For example, there are certain houses that are built like a long, long time ago. My sister's house was built in like 1800s. No idea. But the oldest available price that you can find, let's say, is from 1960. Yes, and you count that as your initial. And you start counting from 1960 not from the 1800s.
But then we have to like be able to like after we figure out the like I guess rate of depreciation from
Growth.
would we have to figure out how much it was worth then or like
In 1960?
no like from before then?
No. No. You're going to pretend like time began from the oldest price that you can find.
Okay.
Yes. But keep in mind for houses typically what they call appreciate in value. Yes, typically. Now, there are some houses that lose value. How old were you guys in 2008, 2009? So you don't have much memory of, or you might have barely any memory of the financial collapse in the United States. Have you ever heard of the movie called The Big Short? Okay. The Big Short is about that financial collapse. Yeah. Steve Carell's in it. No, not the Great Recession. It was a recession. It was a recession at the end of George W. Bush, the beginning of Obama's term. Yeah. But it was basically what ended up happening was during 2002 to 2007, mortgage companies were what they call giving out like subprime mortgages to people who couldn't afford them. It's like, here's a mortgage that I know you can't afford. Here's a mortgage that I know you can't afford. And people thought that they could afford them. And they were basically misled. And it created this bubble where basically this house is under mortgage, but the person couldn't pay it, so the bank took it over. Short sale. You know what I'm saying? Short sale. Neighborhoods decimated. Short sales across the way. Empty houses. And there was this bubble that in 2008, 2009, it burst. And the markets collapsed because nobody could afford to pay those mortgages. Anyway. Not exactly like the 1920s. But anyway, you should see the movie. It's called The Big Short. So what I did yesterday, and I'm going to walk you guys through this today, is the process that you would go through when looking for a house. Now, you don't have to look in Barnegat. You can if you want to. What? Well, maybe. First, I'm going to look in a place called Random Lake, Wisconsin. You could go to another country, but the problem is the currency exchange. Well, I mean, you can, but that's a lot of extra work. You know what I'm saying? If you want to do that extra work, that's up to you. You totally can. Yeah. So I'm looking at Random Lake. Now, here's the thing. I'm going to run into a problem. I designed running into this problem on purpose. Watch what happens. If I click on the house, this house is being sold for $151,000 in Random Lake, Wisconsin. Now, the information that I need, yes, I would like to know the current value of the home. And currently, the value of the home is at $151,000. Don't go to Zillow, because Zillow is like fair market value. And the thing is, it's like, for my house, for example, the house that I currently own, I've owned for 7 years. And Zillow has a certain value on the home. Zillow doesn't know what I'm doing to the home. Zillow doesn't know the improvements I'm making. Zillow is basing that off of the neighborhood and what houses are being sold for. Realtor.com, this is literally what it's being sold for. This house is listed on the market for this price. So this would be the current value. Oh, so let me go contact Mr. Markey. Not yet. Don't contact me just yet, because you need to make sure that the oldest value that you can find, the original value, or like, for my sister's purposes, her house, 1960s value, is less than today's value. If you go on any of these realtor websites, there's usually something called property history that you can see right there. If you click property history, it opens up what the previous house or what the house was listed for in the past, as long as it's available. But look at this house. Can you find anything beyond the current price? Nope. Pick another house. So I got to go back. Let's try this house. If I try this house, $194,000, that's pretty sweet. Built in 1900, wow. Property history. Oh crap, I can't find anything. Well, I guess this project's a dud. I can't do it. How many houses are for sale in America right now? A lot. And I just looked at 2. You have a couple options now. You can either keep looking through Random Lake, Wisconsin, or pick another town. Your choice. You can pick whatever you want. I do have a house in Barnegat that I'm going to pick, though. I could look up Beach Haven, but I'm not going to pick any of them. So I scroll down a little bit. I see land. I'm not going to buy land. Ooh, this house. I really liked going through the... You ever go on realtor websites and just look through their pictures?
Yeah.
Look at this one. Look at this one. This one's sick. It is really nice. It's got a view of the lake. Yeah. Look at that. Multi-level, split level.
It looks like the house from like
Oh, a little bit, right?
yeah, doesn't it?
I was also thinking it looks like the house from The Incredibles 2.
It's like it's got the like 60%.
Yes, it does. It totally does. 60s, yeah. But anyway, I'm sorry. So I got lost a little bit the other day looking through all this. Look, they have like a little paddle boat thing there. Look at that. That's wonderful. Look at those windows. I could never afford this. Well, that's the thing, though. Even with a 30-year mortgage, it's like you really have to make sure that your finances end up working out for it. It's not that obviously you can afford the whole thing at once, but that you can afford the payments, that they fit into your budget. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Okay, so this house. Oh, there's more. Show more. Oh, crap. I can't use this house. You know why? The oldest available listing price is $724,000, which is more than what they're selling it for today. It's lost value. Is that what you're going to say?
Yeah, so when we do this, we want one that
Has gained value. Yes, the project specifically states that. For the house, you have to pick one that has gained value over time. That is one of the requirements. Most houses tend to gain value over time. Some don't. Also, part of the reason why I brought you to this house, see this thing that says property tax? This has nothing to do with the price. This has nothing to do with the price. This is just the quote-unquote assessment of the home. That means nothing to me. What I really want to know is, what was it originally listed for or sold for versus what is the price today? That's what I'm really looking for. Nothing out of the ordinary in terms of property taxes or crazy stuff like that. So you can keep looking through Random Lake, Wisconsin. You're not really going to find much.
Why are they selling like 1 acre lots for so much?
I don't know. There's the one for $39,000.
40 grand.
Yeah, not even an acre, yeah. Mind you, look at this. They're using the same picture. 47 grand, same picture. Anyway, when my parents first bought their home in Barnegat, 1981 is when they moved in. Their house wasn't even built yet. Settlers Landing was like, there was like barely any houses there. But my parents saw a model home and they're like, we want that one. So it was built after they bought it. It's pretty crazy. I'll look up their house. Now, their house is not actually going to have the information that we're looking for. There we go. There's their home today. It says off market, obviously, because, well, it's off market. Oh, there it is. And that's the house I grew up in. Yeah.
Wait, where is that?
Mizzen and Settlers. Anybody Settlers?
No, I didn't grow up here.
All right, whatever. Anyway,
I wonder if my house is on here.
well, the thing is, here's the thing. It's on here. My parents' house is on here, but notice that it says off market. It doesn't have a listing price. It just has an estimated value. I can't use this then. I need to know that it's for sale. Now, if you go to property history, down here, no price history available. Can't do it. So, what does one do? Well, like I said, how long have I been actually searching for? Yeah, like 5 minutes. Like, come on. I've been searching for like 5 minutes. This is nothing. I just need to pick a home. I'm looking at houses in Barnegat now.
I do my old house. I sold it like
Oh, wait.
There it is.
You will search up 44 Benjamin Court.
I can look up that stuff later, but first I want to look at this one. I'm looking up this one because this is the one that I did for the project. This is 7 Bowie Court in Barnegat. I don't know. But this is 7 Bowie Court in Barnegat. And now when I look at the property history, notice it says show more. I can find public record from 1985. This is what I want. Originally, this house was sold for $59,000 in 1985. And currently today, it's listed at $215,000. This is what I want. I found it. Get on your email Mr. Markey, say, Mr. Markey, can I have 7 Bowie Court in Barnegat, New Jersey? Yes, yes, you can. I will update the Google sheet. Now, no one else can have it. Everyone will have a different home for this project. Do you have to stay in Barnegat? No. Is there a price limit? No. Just find a house that has gained value over time. Yeah. As long as that information is available. As long as you have the evidence behind it. Now, right here, if I screenshotted this, this would only be part of my evidence. If I screenshot this, it shows me that oldest price, and it shows me that current price. But I would also like to see a screenshot of this listing up here, basically with the address. I need to see the address connected to the price. You know, I need that evidence. Yeah. I don't know. Anyway, so now what do we do with that information? We can look up houses when we're done, but what do we do with that information? Well, this is where I'm going to go to my little piece of paper right here. Oh, if I can find one. There we go. So, because it doesn't bleed, the permanent marker doesn't bleed through as much as lined paper. Today is the 12th. It is approximately the 1-year anniversary from when we all went into quarantine. Yeah, except it was Friday the 13th last year. Not the car. This is the house part of the project. Now, because houses typically gain value over time, they do what is known as appreciation. I'm going to be using this formula. The bank part, you're going to be using compound interest. The car part, you're going to be using decay. And for the house part, you're going to be using growth. I know a lot of this information already. I know the current resulting value of the house, which is $215,000. I know the oldest possible value, which if I go down to property history is $59,000. And I know the age. Now, age is probably not the right word because I don't know when this house was built. In fact, I don't even know if this thing will tell me when it was built. 1973. But they don't have 1973 listed. The oldest they have is 1985. So I got to go from 1985. And if you go from 1985, well, 15 plus 21, 36 years. It's been 36 years from the oldest price that I could find until the current price that I could find. 36 years. With this information, I should be able to find the rate of growth. And that's what I do need to find. It's similar to what we did with the car, except with the car, it was rate of decay. With this one, it's rate of growth.
Wait, first purchase to what it is now or the last purchase?
Don't worry about the multiple purchases that might have taken place. When on the project, the language that I use is the oldest price available.
36 years.
Here's the oldest price available. And it was 36 years ago. That's what I'm saying. Oldest price available, how long's it been? That's the X value that I want you to use. From here, I can set this junk up. 215,000 equals 59,000, parentheses 1 plus R to the 36th power. Once I am able to determine the rate of growth, I can solve for a lot of different things. And that's actually going to lead to other parts of this project as well. Now, like I said, you don't have to get the crazy decimal to get this thing done. You could just peel off the layers one at a time, leave them as fractions, like this. The first part that I would do is divide by 59,000. I could get the decimal, but I really don't think it's necessary to get that decimal. Leave it as a fraction. You could get the decimal. Good for you if you got the decimal. But I don't really need to worry about that. How do I get that 36th power off of there? Not square rooting. 36th rooting. I know. It's like, what? Yeah. I got to take a root on here, but it's got to be a 36th root. The calculator can get that part done for you, as long as you do it properly. On the calculator that we have here, there we go. Come on, calculator. Load up faster. There we go. Click. Math. X root. And I can type in 36 to get that root. Wonderful. Oh, let's see. 215,000 divided by 59,000. There we go. There's the decimal I'm looking for. That's 1.037 is approximately equal to 1 plus R. Now, a couple things to this. Oh, there we go. R is not by itself. What's literally the only thing I have to do? Yeah. So, okay. All right, just do this. Yeah, you just do that. R is approximately equal to 0.037, which is approximately 3.7%. That, oh, what is this? Oh, sorry. Emails that I need to read later in regards to my job. Anyway, 3.7% is the rate of growth. Now, what that means in context, over the past 36 years, this house has appreciated in value. It has appreciated in value on average 3.7% per year. It's appreciated in value approximately 3.7% per year. That's what the rate of growth is for this particular problem. Let's see. Give me a two. Yeah. Now, a couple things to this. Number one, it wasn't a square root. It was a 36th root. I had to use that X root function in the calculator. But ultimately, because of the equation set up right here, because I got that decimal, I still had to get R by itself. So logically, they're like, oh, I just subtract 1. Now, the other day, when we did this part, it wasn't 1 plus R, it was 1 minus R. So I still had to subtract 1, but then I had to divide by a negative to get that R by itself. Same thing here, except I don't have to deal with the negative. Typically, houses have a certain appreciation, but it depends on a number of things. The appreciation of a house depends on how well it's maintained. It depends on the neighborhoods. It depends on the market. It depends on a lot of things. So these aren't any hard and fast rules. You're all going to get different percentages. That's just the nature of the game. You're going to get a different percentage from your friend who's doing a different house because they're using different prices and a different number of years. Give me a 2-digit number. 12? What will the value of the home be in 12 years? What will the value of the home be in 12 years? I don't know. There's a couple different ways of going about that. It depends on when you want to start counting. Do you want to start counting from 2021 or do you want to start counting from 1985? Now, both answers would be correct because you could do it both ways. You don't have to do it both ways for the project, but you can. Meaning, if I want to start counting from 1985, then this is what I would do. How old was the house originally? 36 years old? Well, I'm going to raise this to the 48th power. Mr. Markey, where the heck did the 48 come from? Where did the 48 come from?
Like, the house was built in
85. Oh, I wasn't built in 85, but
the last price that we have is from 85, so it's 36 years from 1985 to now, plus another 12.
exactly. That's where the 48 came from. And notice, look at the number that's right here that I'm pointing to. The number that I'm pointing to right here, the 59,000, this is the 1985 price. From 1985, if you add an additional 12 years, it's 48 years. Or I could do this. I could start counting from today. And if I start counting from today, then all I have to do is put a 12 on there for 12 additional years. Notice that A value changed. We did this the other day for the cars. Do you remember the difference between the prices for the cars? It was like less than $1, right?
Yeah, it was like 90-something cents.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. For this, it's going to be a little bit more. Well, let's see what it gets us. The first calculation gets us $337,467.78. And the second calculation gets us $332,000 or $332,493.79. It's about a $5,000 difference. That's not bad. Because we're dealing with such large numbers, that's really not that bad. You can do either calculation, doesn't matter to me. No. As long as, listen very carefully, as long as the mechanics are correct. And the mechanics that I'm talking about is the proper initial value paired with the proper number of years. Because if I look at 59,000 and I look at 48, it's like, oh, well, according to your evidence, 59,000 was the price in 1985. 48 years would put us 12 years past today. Versus this one, oh, 215,000 is today's price plus an additional 12 years. So as long as the mechanics are correct, I'm good. Of course, the number, you can't just be like, I'm going to write this down and then write, 330,000. Like, no, I would like a bit more accuracy than 330,000, you know? So let's say I buy this house. I'm not gonna, but let's say I do. Let's say I buy this house. And I'm one of those guys that flips houses. You ever watch those shows where like they flip houses? What was that? Oh, it's my cryptology thing. Anyway. Yeah, they buy houses and they fix them up and blah, blah, blah. You know what show was like huge back in the day? I don't even know if it's on anymore. Do you ever have like Extreme Home Makeover?
Yeah.
They don't have it anymore though?
I think they did.
Every Sunday, my wife and I, when we were dating, she was at college, I was at a different college. When we were dating, every Sunday night, we would watch that show and just like sob at the end. It was so good. You know what I'm talking about? They would like tell like they would have a family on there that was really down on their luck, and they'd tell their story, and then they'd make a dream house to fit all of their like hopes and dreams and whatnot, and they would just reveal the house, and they'd all just like you know. Okay, whatever. I'm the weird one. What? My word. I've seen so many memes with that guy that used to host the show. Who was the guy that used to host the show? Is it Exhibit?
I think he did, yeah.
Yeah, there's so many memes with him online.
Yeah, feel my rhyme with blood.
I did watch that back in the day. Anyway, I'm sorry, Declan, you were saying something. Okay. I don't know.
Like they made enough money from the TV.
From the advertisements and stuff, probably. Yeah. So I buy this house at 7 Bowie Court. And I am a guy who flips houses. So I'm going to hold on to this house. I'm going to fix it up. And I'm not going to sell it. I am not going to sell it until it doubles in value. So how long do I have to wait to sell it? How long until the house doubles in value? That is the big question. Because once it doubles in value, I'm going to sell it. Now, parentheses, from today's price. Because again, the 59,000 number from 1985 is no longer in play. I bought that house today. I'm assuming that it is still going to go up in price 3.7% per year. That's a good assumption. And if it does that, how long do I have to wait until I can sell it? Well, it was $215,000 today. 1 plus 0.037. I don't know how long it takes, so I got to put an X in there. And I'm going to wait until it doubles. This is the setup that I would do. How long until it doubles in price? Now, Mr. Markey, you could easily make that $430,000. Yeah, I could. I'm not gonna. I want to save myself a little work right here. Ultimately, what do I need to solve this problem? I do need logarithms. If you have to solve for an exponent, then you will eventually need logarithms. I'm going to divide both sides by 215,000. Now, this is why I didn't do the right side. This is why I left it as is on the right. If I divide both sides by 215,000, the 215,000s both go away. 1 plus 0.037 to the x power is now equal to 2. Question is, how long until it doubles? I need logarithms. What is the base on my exponential here?
0.037 is 3.7%.
That's my rate of growth.
No, the base 1 plus 0.037.
That's my base. Yes. So big distinguishing point. 0.037 is my rate of growth. But
forgot about the parentheses.
I gotcha. But 1 plus 0.037, that is my base on the problem. The reason why I bring that up is because my base on the exponential is the same base that is on the logarithm. If I convert this to logarithm form, My brand new base is 1 plus 0.037. Remind me, what is the purpose of logarithms? What do they allow you to do? Find the exponent. Solve for the exponent. Get the exponent by itself. Meaning, my exponent's over there. If you can remember those two parts of it, oh, the base is the same base. The exponent's by itself. The leftover's in the parentheses. It's rearranging the problem. From here, I'm going to go to my calculator. Which part, why?
Bringing the two and the x and flipping them. I understand why, but can you do that?
Yes.
Isn't it whatever you do to one side of the equation, you have to do to the other?
Yes. Technically, I have done that. I've just done it in kind of a conversion step. Let me show you what I mean. Okay. Eventually, probably on Tuesday, I'm going to talk a bit about the properties of logarithms. Okay. So I would talk a bit more about the properties of logarithms on Tuesday, but let me just show you one quick thing. You ready? This is a log problem, log base 2 of 2. Okay. If I were to, what this question is really asking me is, okay, 2 to what power will give me 2?
Oh, okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's really 1 is the answer, right? Now, the interesting property that we're going to see on Tuesday is the fact that if you have a log base something, if the base and that something match each other, yeah, it's going to be 1. Now, the reason why I bring that up is because of this. Right here at this line of work, this is the base on the problem. If I do log with this base and log of the same base, I couldn't fit it in. Didn't I do the same thing to both sides? That base matches that base. They cancel each other out, leaving you with x. But then on the right side, I had to do that in order to keep it balanced. That's log base the decimal of 2 equals x. It's a really weird process.
No, but I get it.
No, I'm just saying it is a weird process. Logarithms are like, it's like an alien language, but they're a means to an end. Because you guys have always been taught, like, how do you undo addition? Subtraction. That you've always been taught that, right? How do you undo multiplication? You say division. How do you undo squaring a number? You say square rooting. How do you undo an exponential? Logarithms. I know. Question or just like fancy reacting? What do you mean cryptology? Technically it is. Cryptology is mathematics. If I had a family tree, I'm not going to do it, but if I had a family tree of mathematics at the top, it'd be like mathematics at the top of the family tree. A couple generations down would be science. An offshoot would be like a offshoot of science and mathematics would be physics. And then, there's cryptology, music, astronomy. Everything comes off of math. Everything. Yes. Any type of logical language, historical context is based off of mathematics. Anything.
So who is the worst part? Who decided that 1 plus 1 was 2?
Here's the thing. There's 2 ways of looking at math. 1, the way that humans describe it, which is flawed. 2, mathematics as it is, it just is. See, the thing is, we can verbally describe that 1 + 1 = 2. We can verbally say that. And we recognize that because when you put a singular item together with another singular item, it's more than one singular item. 1 and 1 become 2-ness, right? But even if human beings did not exist, even if human beings were wiped off the face of this planet completely, do you believe that 1 + 1 would still equal 2? Yeah, because mathematics isn't something that we thought up. Mathematics is something that we are describing. It's something that just exists and we recognize it. Have I talked about calculus? Well, long story short about calculus before I finish this problem. You've heard of the word calculus, correct? You know who discovered calculus?
The man with the last name calculus.
No. 2 guys that never met each other and never corresponded with each other, who lived 30 years apart. How's that possible? Isaac Newton discovered this mathematical field that he called fluxions. But the man had an inferiority complex. He hated being criticized. So when he wrote out fluxions on paper, he stuffed it in a drawer and locked it and said, forget it. No one's going to know about this. 30 years later, a mathematician on mainland Europe named Leibniz discovered what he called calculus. It was the same thing as fluxions, except with different notation and different descripting measures. They were both describing the same concept, just using different words. Isaac Newton's like, heck no, that's my stuff. Both men are now credited with having discovered the same thing independently of each other. How is that possible? Unless mathematics just exists and we're just along for the ride. Back to this. I got to figure out this log, so I'm going to go to my calculator. Math, log base, 1 plus 0.037 for my base, 2 right there. Boom. The answer is approximately 19.08. What is that measured in? Years. That is measured in years. Now, I did say how long. I believe you could either do how long or you can do when. Because keep in mind, remember this 215 number. This 215,000 number is from what year? Now. It's from now. So this means that the 19 years and change is starting from now. 2040 and change. Yeah, or you could say between 2040 and 2041. Either way.
That's like
Not many what?
days. 0.08.
I know, yeah, that's true. Actually, hold on. Let me figure out the decimal here. So it'd be like, well, I'd have to do, I don't have the same log thing that you guys have, so I'd have to do this. Hold on, I can figure that out.
365 days.
It's about a month. Yeah. Less than a month. Yeah. But I'm just saying you could just say either this many years, or you could say between 2040 and 2041. Either one would be acceptable, but I need that math to back it up. Now, as I said, the math, this is the math right here. No. This is the math to back it up. This is common sense, you know. Yeah. But let me show you, as I promised, the actual document for the project that you guys are going to see. I'm going to post this today. Come on. I'm going to post this today before I leave the building, but this is what your project is going to look like. Now, as I said, I need evidence. Screenshot that stuff. You need to screenshot that information if need be, for the bank, for the car, and the house. On Chromebooks, there is a very easy way to screenshot using a couple of key clicks. Now, I'm going to say a couple things to this. Number one, I'm not as familiar with those key clicks, but You could easily Google it. How do you screenshot on a Chromebook? And it'll show you. But more importantly, if you're on your school Chromebook and you screenshot it, you know what happens? It goes to your Google Drive. It uploads directly to your Google Drive, as long as you screenshot it on a Chromebook. I know. Well, hold on, guys. I got like 3 minutes. I want to show you a couple more things. Not math writing, but on the project. But like I said, screenshot that stuff. Google it, look it up, see how to screenshot it. It'll upload directly to your Google Drive. Hold on. Now, a couple things to this. You can't use TD Bank. It says it right there. You can't use a Geo Prism. It says it right there. You were talking about some of the requirements of the car. Look at this. The vehicle must be at least 3 years old and must have lost value over time. Well, keep in mind, find the car first, then email me because someone else might take it. Same thing with the house right here, guys. Same thing with the house right here. Right here. The oldest price found must be more than 1 year ago. You can't just have a price from 2020. It has to be more than 1 year. And it must have gained value over time. There is a reflection. Oh, yeah, and there it is. You can't use 7 Bowie Court. There is a reflection on all the parts of the project. I want your honest thoughts. Don't just give me one-word sentences or some junk like that. Give me your honest thoughts in regards to these questions. And then, of course, there is the rubric down there. Do not forget your evidence. Now, I do provide one additional page for you in the form of this. This is the bank form. You're not required to use this. You're not required to use this, but you could use this as an organizational tool. Basically, what it's going to come down to is this. You're going to research 3 banks. You're going to put their information into the table, and then you are going to choose one of the banks to move forward with, and then you do the calculations just with that one bank. It says it right here. The questions below the table are to be filled out for one of the 3 banks. Please keep that in mind. Now, in the past, I would have accepted like written reports and junk like that, or typed out reports. I want everything on Google Drive. You could do a Google Doc, you could do a Google Slide, you could do whatever Google thing you want to do with Google. But that's what I want the project, and I want it submitted via Google Classroom. Oh, my glasses. Take a picture of it.
And then just like put it on a doc?
Yes. Yes. Just like, typical homework or whatever, or anything that I ask for in terms of evidence and work. Mathematical work can be handwritten. Just make sure it's neat. And you can take a picture and upload it directly into whatever you're submitting to me for the project. Make sure it is neat and organized within whatever you're submitting to me. Okay. If you have any questions, email me, but there is the bell. I'm going to sign off. Oh, if you haven't left a comment in the chat, I'm going to wait a minute just to... Thank you, too. I'm going to wait a minute just so you can leave a comment in the chat if you haven't already. But otherwise, I'm done for the day.
Is there any way I can mix that up with like a different?
Send me an email.
All right.
Send me an email, and I'll look into it.
All right.
My